So, a friend of mine stops by my workshop the other day, and she's holding this bowl that just, wow. It looked like it had been through a war. It was totally dull, scratched all over, and it had this weird, coppery color peeking through the pattern. She was just beside herself.
She tells me, I saw online that toothpaste is the best way to get that shine back. And my heart just sank. She genuinely thought she was doing the right thing, restoring a piece of her family's history, but she was following advice that was about to completely destroy it.
Because that's exactly what happened. She had literally scrubbed the thin layer of silver clean off, right down to the copper base metal. It is a tragic sight, and honestly, it happens all the time because of these so-called quick tips. Today, we're going to make sure that never ever happens to you.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We are going to tackle the 4 biggest, most damaging myths in silver care, starting with the one that caused this whole mess. These are the hacks that promise a quick, easy fix, but end up costing you an heirloom. So, here are our 4 main culprits: the toothpaste polish, the aluminum foil bath, the ice cube test, and the magnet test. Now, each one has a claim that sounds pretty convincing, right? But the reality is, they range from highly destructive to just flat out wrong. We're going to break down every single one. So, you have to wonder, why are these tips so popular if they're so bad? Well, it's because on the surface, they kind of seem to work. But here's the really fascinating part: the actual science behind the damage they're causing. This isn't really about cleaning, it's about destructive chemistry and pure brute force abrasion. Let's start with toothpaste. Think about it for a second. Toothpaste is designed to be abrasive enough to scrub plaque off of tooth enamel, which is one of the hardest substances in the entire human body. So when you take that same abrasive power and apply it to a super soft metal like silver, yeah, it's literally like using liquid sandpaper. And this really gets to the heart of the problem. Toothpaste is fundamentally abrasive and destructive. All it does is scratch away the surface. A proper silver polish, on the other hand, is a completely different game. It uses mild chemical agents and protective compounds to gently lift the tarnish without actually removing the precious metal underneath. And here's a key piece of insider knowledge for you. If you scrub way too hard, you get something we call bleeding. That's the technical term for when you see that copper or nickel-based metal showing through on the high points of a design. And once this happens, let me be clear, no amount of polishing is going to bring that silver back. The damage is permanent. Now this brings us to a crucial aha moment. Not all tarnish is bad. Actually, that soft gray layer that settles into all the deep crevices of a pattern, that's called patina. And patina is your friend. It provides the contrast and the depth that makes an intricate design really pop. It's the visual signature of a piece's history, and it's absolutely something you want to preserve. And this is exactly why that aluminum foil and baking soda trick you see everywhere is so problematic. Yes, the chemical reaction does remove tarnish, but here's the catch. It removes all of it, including that beautiful, desirable patina. It just strips the piece of all its contrast, leaving it looking flat, lifeless, almost dead. It effectively robs the silver of its soul. Okay, let's move on to these so-called tests. You've probably seen this one all over the internet. The claim is if you put an ice cube on a piece of silver and it melts almost instantly, it must be real sterling silver. So, is that true? The answer is a hard no. What that test actually proves is that the metal is a good thermal conductor, and while silver is an excellent conductor, so is copper, which just happens to be the base metal used in most silver-plated items. So this test? Yeah, it tells you pretty much nothing useful. All right, what about the magnet test? The logic here seems simple enough, right? Real silver isn't magnetic, so if a magnet doesn't stick, you've got the real deal. Easy enough, right? Well, not exactly. You see, while silver is non-magnetic, so are most of the common base metals used in plating. We're talking copper, brass, pewter, the whole lot. A magnet will only tell you if the piece has an iron or steel core. So while it can help you spot some fakes, it absolutely cannot confirm that a piece is genuine silver. So, after debunking all of that, you're probably wondering, okay, great, so what should I do? Well, the good news is, proper silver care is incredibly simple. It's not about magic tricks or harsh chemicals, it's all about gentle, consistent maintenance. It really all comes down to 3 simple steps. First, just wash the piece with a mild dish soap and some warm water. That gently removes any oils or grime. Second, and this part is crucial, Dry it completely with a soft cloth to prevent any water spots. And third, only when it's really needed, use a tiny amount of a quality silver cream polish, maybe just once or twice a year. That is it. And here are a few rapid-fire tactical tips to protect your pieces. Never ever use scrubby sponges or even paper towels. They contain wood pulp that causes tiny micro scratches. Store your silver in special anti-tarnish bags or cloth. And please never put it in the dishwasher. The extreme heat and harsh detergents are a total disaster. And finally, keep it away from things with sulfur, like rubber bands or wool, because they'll make it tarnish way faster.
All right, to wrap all this up and really solidify your new expertise, let's do a quick lightning round of some frequently asked questions. You ready? Okay, you see this all the time at antique markets, stamped right on a piece. Is German silver the real thing? Nope, absolutely not. It is a very clever name for an alloy that's made of copper, nickel, and zinc. It looks a lot like silver, but it contains precisely 0% actual silver. Don't ever let that name fool you. Here's another common one. Let's say you have a whole box of old, damaged, silver-plated flatware. Is there any value in trying to melt it down? No, unfortunately not. The layer of silver on a plated piece is only a few microns thick. I mean, it is microscopic. The true value of these items is in their history, their pattern, and their usefulness, not in the tiny amount of precious metal they contain. And that really brings us to the most important point. Silver isn't just a material, it's a medium for memory. These objects were made to be passed down through generations. And if you treat them with the simple, gentle care they deserve, they will easily outlast all of us. So the next time you pick up an old family heirloom, don't just think about aggressive cleaning hacks. Instead, I want you to ask yourself this: how are you going to preserve its story for the next generation?